Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. That over there is at Fuzzy Chris 91, Christopher Merez. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. That dog in the background, likely Milo. And the man who he's better late than never, but barely late as it is, at Rivera 86. He's arrived. Listen, he's had a busy week with the Mets because his baseball team actually goes out and does things besides keep a guy they should have kept. But this is not a baseball podcast. Subway to Shea for all that stuff. But Ant, good to have you here.
Good to be here. For some reason, as I was logging on to here, it was like my computer did not recognize I had a camera, did not recognize I had a microphone, had to go through all the entire setup as if I was a new person. So glad to make it on here. And even Tuesday, I had a Verizon outage, so it had no internet at all. So I'm glad I'm able to make it to this show today.
I was also a part of that Verizon outage last week. No bueno.
I was going to say, I mean, you having to do all these things from the it's kind of like the Dodgers. They don't believe there's a salary, like a luxury tax or whatever you guys want to call it. So it's good there. Yeah, it all works out.
Well, certainly with Bichette and then Luis Robert Jr. and the Freddie Peralta trade. Please, if you want your baseball, go over to Subway to Shea. Get all your good stuff over there. But we're a hockey podcast, and we got things we got to get to. Of course, in about 30 minutes, we'll be giving our picks from a 8-game slate tonight. So not a deep slate. And I'll be honest, going through this one, there's not a lot of picks I love tonight. There's only a couple I like, and some I like, all right, whatever. We'll give it out, but I'm not crazy about it. But definitely we'll get to that later. We'll also put all of the NHL Eastern Conference teams into tiers of what they should do at the deadline. We'll get to that here momentarily. First up, we want to do our fantasy ads of the week. We'll get to that early here. And for me, I'm going to go with I got two. First is going to be Ryan McLeod of the Buffalo Sabres. No Josh Norris and no Kulich means he's the second line center for the time being. He's getting to skate with Jason Zucker and Jack Quinn. So the focus going on that really strong Buffalo top line. Josh Doan, who just got a contract extension. Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. It opens up some opportunities for that second line. Recently had a 5-game point streak, 9 games in his last 10. Plays on the second power play and penalty kill units, and also provides a secondary source of faceoffs. So that is one guy I'd like to throw out there right at it.
That's a pretty good one. That's a good way to start.
I mean, with the Buffalo, 16-3-1, you may as in their last 20, you may as well ride the wave while you can.
They're going to be 16-4-1 after tonight. So
there you go. So we got a little bit of a lean, a little bit of what he's thinking for the Canadians Sabres game. Second Thursday in a row, those two playing. This time they're going to swap who's home and who's away. Bonus one I want to throw out there as he returns to the lineup tonight, Mason Marchment. He had 5 goals and 2 assists in 7 games with the Blue Jackets prior to being out after he was sent there from Seattle. He's on the top line with Adam Fantilli and Kirill Marchenko. He's on the top power play unit. That's a complete top line now. So Marchment, that's a guy, in deeper leagues, I went out and got him back because I knew I won. At left wing, it's a thin position.
I want to go back to Ryan McLeod because I had streamed him a couple weeks ago, and he came up big for me when I needed it. And like you mentioned, that source of faceoff, he's a faceoff machine. You look at his faceoffs, every game, 11, 7, 11, 10. You are getting prime faceoff category points there if you have him. At the very least, if he doesn't get a goal or an assist, at least you know that some category he's going to definitely provide what is needed, and especially with faceoffs, that's an important part of our league. And it's good. Ryan McLeod is a good one to pick up. I like it.
Now we move on to Chris's fantasy ad of the week.
Yes, listen, like the Minnesota Wild's offense, my fantasy teams are falling apart. The injury bug is starting to make its way to my team, and I don't know. Listen, I don't know if I'm going to survive it. It's one of those things where you might just go down with the ship. But if somebody can keep you on the ship, his name is Vladimir Tarasenko. He has benefited from Matt Boldy being out of the lineup. Doesn't really benefit from Joel Eriksson-Ek being out directly, but indirectly, he's found himself on the top power play unit, which helps. Anytime you can get exposure to Kirill Kaprizov or Quinn Hughes in some way, it's going to work out. He has 5 goals in the last 3, 8 points in the last 4. He is cooking. Listen, Minnesota lost to Montreal in dramatic fashion, and Vladimir Tarasenko was, the man out there doing most of the work. He had 2 shots, 2 goals. Listen, it's not about the quantity. Sometimes it's the quality. So as long as Tarasenko is getting those heavy top 6 minutes, we know Minnesota is not the deepest team up front. They're going to roll him out there as long as his body doesn't let him down. There are some good options on the waiver wire, but he's 29% owned on Yahoo. That's a 24% jump versus last week. So some people are paying attention, right? Be one of those people. Okay, go straight there, pick him up, move on.
Old dogs can still hunt. That's the case with Tarasenko. And good news is that Eriksson Ek and Marcus Johansson game time decisions for the Wild tonight. So they don't come back tonight against Detroit. They'll be back in their next game. So there we go. So Ryan McLeod, Mason Marchment, Vladimir Tarasenko. And do we have a fantasy out of the week?
We do. I am going to go with Matt Zuccarello. He's got 4 assists over the last 3 games. He's got a goal as well. A big thing for me, though, is he got 3 power play points, which helps out desperately since they're hard to get. They're not easy to get in this league. He's in the top line with Ryan Hartman and Kirill Kaprizov. So I'm going with Zuccarello here. You got to take the hot hand, especially when you're picking up a player of the week. And you might as well do it now before he runs out of gas and, is a little bit more inconsistent like he's been this season.
Zuccarello always finds a way to contribute somehow, some way. Like he's just one of those guys, and he's almost always playing on a line with a top player because he just does everything, all the little things, no pun intended, to his height. But yes, he's fantasy wise, he also will get you a decent amount across the board as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
3 fantasy hockey ads of the week. Please take advantage. In your leagues, check your settings, but all these usually apply across the board. So there we go. Now, what I wanted to do today is talk a little NHL trade deadline tiers here for the Eastern Conference today. And then next week we'll do Western Conference. And a couple of these teams, we kind of know like what their intentions are already, as we have them up on the screen here. And the categories are going to be Crazy Eddie sale, soft sell, stand pat, plug a hole or two, or shopping spree. So the Rangers with their letter 2.0, which you can go back and watch Rip and Riff for my take on that. They've made it clear that it's going to be, they like to say it was a retool. They didn't use the rebuild word. But if you're talking about trading Panarin, if you're talking about trading Trocheck, that's a Crazy Eddie sale to me. Disagreements there?
Yep. Just like at the stock market. Sell, sell, sell. This team is... I don't know what they are. Honestly, it's been a disaster. I mean, Chris and I have been calling this for a little over now like a year. Even with the JT Miller ad, kept saying, how many times are you guys gonna change your coaches and get rid of the coaching staff when it's the players? And now finally, it looks like this team is finally gonna sell this whole roster off, and as they will, it should be.
I'm excited for the letter in 2036 to say they're retooling again. Doesn't matter at this point. This team has more letters sent out than the Toronto Maple Leafs have wins in the first round in the last 10 years. So those are 2 things you don't want to excel at, right? Those are things you don't want to do. But sure, listen, I would have called it a soft sell, I guess, if it's a retool. But listen, if you want to put them at the bottom of the barrels, you're not gonna get a no from me out of that. That's sure.
Here's it's not even being bottom of the barrel. Like if you have a trip like Panarin and you're talking about potentially offloading somebody like Trocheck as well, like it may be 2 players, but those are 2 tremendous chips. So that's why I kind of put them down there. I just don't necessarily trust the guy that they're going to have do it, Chris Drury. Yeah. Not sure what track record he's had to justify getting the keys to and that's the thing. He may do a fantastic job of maxing out his returns for whatever assets he decides to trade. That's not the problem. The problem is his track record drafting stinks. I don't blame Lafreniere on him because he's a consensus top overall, but then that goes back to the Rangers don't really do well developing talent. So maybe that's where that falls into. Lafreniere's another guy that's being talked about. So yeah, Crazy Eddie sale there. Now
did he draft Kako?
Yeah, that was his draft. draft.
I mean, there wasn't really anything he could do about that one.
That was another
It
thing too. Like
1-2.
the second overall, like who else? Everybody that year was like top two
But-
picks were set. So
And he's playing pretty decently in Seattle.
when he plays,
Yeah.
when he's in the lineup. Now your team.
Retooling, is that just a New York thing? It's in all sports. Instead of saying rebuilding, because they're afraid to say it, everything is always, oh, we're retooling.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it makes it sound better. Because what sounds like more of a commitment, rebuilding something or retooling. Yeah. Retooling means to me, it's like, oh, I'm just going to go to Home Depot, get some new hammers and stuff. Like we're retooling, we're getting new tools. We don't need to tear the whole thing down. We just need rebuilding. Is like, no, we're taking this thing to the studs and we're putting up new balls again. So
yeah. Retooling's like the situationship, basically. You don't want to label it anything. You just want to go with the vibes, see what happens, kind of thing.
Now, the Devils across the river, Dougie Hamilton's name's been thrown out there. I know there's a couple others. I don't think, obviously, you're not looking at trading like Jack Hughes or anything like that, but with the way the Devils season has gone, I know the Metropolitan's still wide open outside after Carolina, we'll say, but I think Tom Fitzgerald needs to, maybe plug a hole or two would be the better way to put it. Like, use what you got, try and like make this team a little bit better.
Yeah, after that really rough stretch that they had, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They won 2 in a row. They're only 5 points back of the second spot in the Metropolitan Division behind the Penguins, Islanders, and Flyers. But I think they just lost. Luke Hughes has been injured now, and he's going to be on long-term IR. I don't know how much they can really do to really add to this team and make them a consistent winning playoff team. And if they make it to the playoffs, they got to play Carolina again in the first round and get swept away or something. Like, I don't know. It's a tough situation for the Devils.
Here's what I'll say. A team is in the Devils situation. Normally I'd be like, you got to just sell off and that would be a retool for next year. Like sell off whatever you can, try and shake something up. But because Tom Fitzgerald hasn't done anything to try and change things, and he's still trying to do the same thing over and over again, I think the Devils do have to try something here again, because the division after Carolina is wide open.
It's really hard to see them take the next step when the goaltender that they paid, Jacob Markstrom, has not been good this season at all. I mean, Jake Allen's been better, not much better, but definitely earned more starts than Jacob Markstrom's earned. And it's the same thing I said at the beginning of the fantasy season is my worry with Jack Hughes. This team goes as Jack Hughes goes, and they got off to a great start. Jack Hughes got hurt and, getting cut with a knife or whatever, it is what it is. But I mean, he still got hurt and he still missed a long part of time, and the team suffered for it.
You're not going to get more from me out of here. Listen, I think the Devils should soft sell whoever doesn't have a no trade clause, basically, because you got to convince them to leave. Just get some pieces, see what you can get, and that's it. This season is not theirs.
I'm going to put, all right, so we got 2 teams in the books here. I'm going to say for the Florida Panthers, I would say plug a hole or two, just because they're not they know what they're doing at the deadline. They've pretty much got the roster they're going to go to the playoffs with. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of tweaks there. I don't see them making any major additions at this point. Obviously, no Barkov is going to hurt them. Maybe they try and, like a Ryan O'Reilly. Maybe they're like, all right, now's the time we're going to try and like add that extra center to the mix there. But I don't see them going crazy there.
Were you talking about like it was the same like the Brad Marchand ad last year or Seth Jones? You took like a small ad like
to me, those are shopping spree ads. So that's like we're pushing again. I don't know if they can do that again. At some point that you have to look, the cap's gonna be a problem. Yeah. So I think they're more of a plug a hole or two. And so you guys think they should be in the Devils should be down in the soft sell, or because it's like weird. They should do something.
They can't stand pat.
Yeah, they can't stand pat. So like.
So that's exactly what they're going to do, by the way. Just in case anybody's confused, they're going to trade deadline's going to come and go, and the Devils look the exact same that they did. So,
I mean, it's really tough because they're only 5 points back, But, now losing Luke Hughes long term, this guy can't get consistent in Markstrom. I don't know. It's a tough situation. I don't want to sell. I'd like to see them push and make a move or two here, but got to be realistic sometimes. This team is not a Stanley Cup contender. That's what the whole thing of bringing Markstrom in here was. And even Chris said in the offseason, there's no more excuses, right? You got Markstrom, you got the goalie, can't make any more excuses. And now they're at a point where they are fifth in the division. Like, this is not a team that's going to go far in the playoffs if they make it.
But again, yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, especially with Luke Hughes now on long-term IR, but some sort of shakeup has to happen there. Let's try, I'm going to put a couple of teams in the stand pat category, and if there's any disagreements, you let me know. Like, I feel like these are teams that, like, they're not good enough yet to, like, make a move to make a playoff push, but they're definitely not in a situation where they should be selling either, because they're, like, right on that middle. Anybody else from the bottom you would put there? I mean, maybe Columbus has already kind of made their move, getting Marchment. They were close to the playoffs last year. Maybe they try and plug a hole or two. I don't know.
I would put Columbus in the plug or hole or two. Like, you don't go get Rick Bowness to finish out the year to just, you know what I mean, hang around. Like, they're like, if they didn't care, then they would have just let Dean Evansson run this ship into the ground, got a better pick. So the expectation there, at least if I'm Don Waddell, is, hey, this team can turn it around. If we're in a position to try to make the playoffs, right, then I expect them to go out and, plug a couple of holes, one or two.
I feel like the Flyers should be in plug a hole or two. I mean, they're only 3 points back of that third spot in the Metropolitan, and they're 3-5-2 right now, and they're without Dan Vladar, who's been a really big.
I think Philly's just good enough to miss the playoffs, is what I think they are.
Philly is a fraud to where
they're
going to
be now. in the hunt graphic that you see when they start showing playoff picture graphics on. But I don't know if they ever actually cracked it. And I think maybe next year is the year that they start to make a push. I think you got Drysdale's coming along a little bit. Gautier's been good this year. I think this is the gelling year for Philly, and then next year's the year, like, all right, Metropolitan, at least if it's similar landscape to what it is now, that number 2 spot's wide open. That's going to be ours next year. That's how I would approach it if I was Philly. Let's see here. Anybody? There's not going to be a lot. I feel like there's not a lot of Eastern Conference teams that are going to be standing pat. It's either going to be like
Tampa
doing something or not doing something. I can see them trying to plug a hole.
No, Tampa's going straight to the shopping spree. They have no idea what the salary cap is. They have no idea. It doesn't exist to them. This is a
Vegas
world
East.
that. Right. They have no idea what a salary cap is. Julian Breezeball, this analytic team must be really, really good. They will find a way to circumvent it. They're 11-0-1 in their last 12. Considering where they've gotten without players like Victor Hedman, Braden Point goes down. We've seen Tampa Bay be very, very willing to move their picks. Very willing. They once moved who was that guy who was coming over from, what was it? Tanner Jeannot. Remember when they sold the farm for Tanner Jeannot? Like, they don't care. A pick is irrelevant to them. The NHL gives it to them, and then they're like, we'll find something else.
Did we lose Chris?
We may have.
All right. So
I thought it was me.
No, I was
I'm right here.
Back? Oh, we lost you for a minute. But, it's kind of like your connection just kind of disappeared, like the time-space continuum, and then you came back. You're like, I'm right here. Like, no, you've been frozen the whole.
Yeah,
Gary turned me off. That's it. He's like, no. He heard me say circumvent the salary cap, and he's like, no, we're not doing this again. But yeah, Tampa Bay went out there, spent a whole bunch of money. They traded a bunch of picks for Tanner Jeannot. So this team doesn't believe in picks. They show up to the draft and they're like, well, who's available in the 5th round? That's all they is. It's a wide open Atlantic. They can easily separate themselves. I can see them being a spender and just finding a way to get creative.
Another team I'm going to throw up there is the Red Wings. It's time to make the playoffs. They're not frauds. They may not be a Stanley Cup winning team this year, but they are a playoff team. Like, I would have expected them to fall off by now if this wasn't a real team. And listen, I understand they're going as John Gibson's going, and if John Gibson comes back down to earth and is average, see how they respond to that. But I think at some point Detroit's got to make a push to get in, and they've shown enough this year that like, all right, let's go. Moritz Sider's having a Norris-worthy campaign, so I think this is the time for them to do it. Now we got about 10 to 12 minutes before we get to picks, and we still got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 teams to go. Anybody else on the bottom that you think should be at the top of the shopping spree? I mean, is like Carolina belong there?
I would put the Buffalo Sabres there in the same conversation as the Red Wings, right? This team looked like they were going to be sellers again and just like nothing good about them. Then they go on that rapid winning spree, right? 16-3-1. They're right there. Like the whole team is vibing right now. They're feeling good about themselves. The city's feeling good about the team. Don't like give them something. Give them something. Say, hey, you've earned it. For so many years, we've seen them be willing to, sell off this and sell off that and move this, even if it's not much. Go out there and plug whatever holes you need, whatever's missing. Be very, very willing to move those picks. I'm not saying be dumb. Jarmo Kakalainen, we've seen him in the past be very willing to do things. So I can't imagine him coming into Buffalo and just saying, we're just going to run with this. No, he's going to listen. If you're willing to go live in Buffalo for a few months, it's, it could be a busy deadline for them.
And you have Owen Power, which is, a massive potential trading chip there that's kind of stuck behind Dahlin. Yeah, that I think, I've seen in some Sharks groups them talking about trying to make something happen for like an Owen Power. And I'd love to see my Greer try and pull something like that off. I agree with Buffalo, especially because of what went down with the Bills and they fired the coach, which was not the guy to get rid of. We're not a football podcast.
Can we throw the Islanders up there, whether in shopping spree or plug a hole or two, because they're the best team in this Hudson area, which no one would have thought of, and they're in prime position to get into the playoffs. So I want to see the Islanders make a move here too.
I think they're in a plug a hole or two category because I think they recognize, like, all right, we got this kid Schaefer that seems legit. Like, we got a good one. I don't think they want to try and rush anything. I think it's important to try and make the playoffs this year, again, in a wide open Metro. Been a bit for the Islanders. I think definitely plug a hole to try and get in and see what happens, because that 2-3 matchup in the Metro this year, it's going to be a toss-up probably.
And listen, Matthew Darsh from the school of Julian Brisebois. So, again, the Islanders they can spend some money, and they are a good team. A lot of that is through the fact that Ilya Sorokin and David Rittich have been out of this world. The goals saved above expected is like it's them and then everybody else kind of in the middle, and then the Ottawa Senators. So it's one of those things where they're not, I wouldn't say frauds, but the goaltending has helped, and they are built from the back end out. But a couple of pieces up front wouldn't hurt them, especially with the way that Bo Horvat has been playing this year, especially with the way that Barzal's been playing. If they don't believe in guys like Duclair, like, go out and find pieces that can make this team better. Hole or two, play the Islanders style of hockey. Maybe they surprise somebody in the first round.
I throw the Penguins in that category as well. Again, you got a chance to get back to the playoffs here with the way the season's been going. Stuart Skinner looks like he might actually, the change of scenery might be working out well for him at this point. So, yeah, and that's the thing. They're not going to go crazy, but, yeah, they got to do something there. 5 teams to go here. We'll be making our picks for tonight in about 8 minutes. Do we have anybody? The West will be probably much more seller heavy than the East is when we do that next week, because I don't know if there's any of these teams that I would necessarily put in the soft sell or crazy Eddie sale category here. I mean, unless somebody else has got something.
Soft sell, we could put the Leafs right there. Let's soft sell this. Okay.
What now? This is what they should do, not what they're going to. Correct.
Well, listen, once somebody figures it out there, okay. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson is out for a minute. They're dealing, maybe Brandon Carlo as well, out for, like, this team is falling apart. They are not that good. Anthony Stolarz, who knows what's going to happen. The team has said they don't want a 3-headed monster in goal, which is like, that's cute coming from a Habs fan who's had to live through that 2 years in a row. they need to be a soft sell, man. They're not as good as they think they are. This team is missing. They're missing pieces. They're not good, and this is the year that it hits them, and they realize that. Listen, you can't lose in the first round if you don't make the playoffs, right? Think about it.
There you go.
5-head play. They're like, we don't want to be talked about this anymore, so we're just going to play golf in April.
And yeah, like there'll be some, the Leafs missed the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. But like a week into the playoffs, nobody talks about the teams that missed the playoffs anymore. Everybody's too focused on the playoffs. All right. So I agree. This is if we're framing this as what they should do, then yeah, put Toronto there. Washington and Carolina, are we putting them in the spree or the plug a hole or two? They're definitely not stand pat.
You don't think they're stand pat?
See, I was going to say either stand pat or plug a hole or two. The last time they went on a shopping spree, they got Rantanen in and then quickly traded him off. So
it's true.
Like
I don't think they make that mistake again.
They're in good shape.
Carolina is like a top 5 team in shooting. They get it done. Once they figure out that Freddie Anderson should not be tending the twine very often, Butsy's come in. He's done his job. Defensively, they're good. And the rest of their offense is fine. So I mean, they don't have to do anything. If they went by the trade deadline and everybody, management said, hey, we fully believe in you. Like there's, these guys that are here are good enough to compete. Go for it. Maybe they do plug a hole or two, but I don't think they need to.
Bussy is 18-3-1 this season.
He's fantastic.
For free. Remember that.
Wow.
They got him for free.
All right. So we got 3 teams to go in the next 5 minutes before we get to our picks here. Let's do the Capitals here because, again, it goes back to that theme of the conversation of Metro's wide open. It's potentially Ovechkin's last season. I don't necessarily see them standing pat. I mean, but they seem to kind of have their lineup the way they like. So maybe it's not plug a hole or two. Maybe it's stand pat for them.
Same thing. I think it is stand pat. I think the health of Pierre-Luc Dubois may, force them to do something else down the middle. But even the kids that have come up, they haven't been bad. They're built exactly the way you want them to be built. Their goaltending is really good, right? Thompson's been great. Their defense is, I feel, is set. Like you can't go out and really add more and make it that much better. So again, if the Capitals went by the trade deadline, didn't do a single thing, wouldn't be the end of the world.
They just need a hot run, it feels like.
Yeah.
And they have the pieces, if healthy.
We got 2 teams to go here. How do we feel about the Bruins? I would say, I know, again, Atlantic's also wide open, but I feel like the picture's starting to become a little bit clearer, and they're more in the middle of the pack of that. So, while I still think they could make the playoffs, I don't know if they're necessarily a team that's going to go. And Swayman has been playing well. I mean, maybe plug a hole. It's plug a hole to or stand bat for Boston.
I agree with that one.
Chris, what's your take here?
I would have soft sell to them. I don't think they're really that good. I think they're kind of getting away with it in a sense. But if they are, again, I think there's still too many weeks ahead of them to kind of figure out in what direction they want to do, right? Because if they go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, then there's, you know what I mean? They may be a soft sell. If they go on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, then they may be like, hey, let's plug the hole and let's run it, right? It wouldn't shock me if they did any of those 3 in the middle. It would, that's where the Bruins are at this point. Like they go out, get a couple of pieces, maybe they'd be good. If they decide they don't want to and they just want to kind of offer some pieces off, you can do that as well.
The more I look at Florida, the more I think that once they get healthy, they'd be totally fine standing pat. I just don't think that that's the way they're wired. I feel like they'll do something that just to, when you're already over the top, sometimes you want to just keep. They're very much a pedal to the metal mentality on roster building towards the playoffs. Now that leaves the Canadians for last. So I will give this is not an official I have a question segment. We did that last week. Bring it back from time to time. Where are we placing the Montreal Canadiens considering the landscape of the Atlantic Division?
I believe that Ken Hughes has said that they feel that this team is ahead in the rebuild and where they are. And with the way that they've been playing, the need for a second line centerman is still there, but I think that's an off-season kind of thing. There are a lot of bodies in that lineup. And once everybody gets healthy, all right, now you got to try to find space for everybody. right? So Alex Texier's played really well, but now Kirby Dach's back. Patrick Laine at one point is going to be healthy, right? What do you do there? I don't think they're going to do a ton. I don't think they're going to plug any holes on the back end because I feel like they're set on rolling those 7 defensemen that they have. I don't know how much they want to do offensively. So we saw it with Ken Hughes last year where he said, hey, convince me that this team doesn't need anything. He basically stood pat, let it run. Unless he's getting wowed out of this world for something, I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he just holds, and this is the lineup we're going to see.
All right, so there we go. So we've ran through the Eastern Conference here for our trade deadline team tiers. Teams that we think should go on a shopping spree all come from the Atlantic: Tampa, Detroit, and Buffalo. The plugger hole or two category is going to be the Panthers, Blue Jackets, Islanders, and Penguins. Soft sell should be the Devils and Leafs. Crazy Eddie sale should be the Rangers. And the teams in the middle are the Flyers, Senators, Hurricanes, Capitals, and Canadiens standing pat, with the understanding with the Bruins that we're going to see how the next, we'll see how they look going into the Olympic break, because they're like jury's still out on where they would necessarily be. So there we go. One last look at that before we get ready to get your picks for tonight. And I don't see any reason to wait anymore. So let's get out of here, boys. All right. And like I said before, I am not crazy about the slate tonight. That's fine. We'll still try and find some winners here. Looking back at last week, Chris, what a week. 7-1. Don't touch him, you'll get burned. 7-1 to bring him to 53-40 on the season. I went 5-2 last. I went 4-2 last week. Brings my total 57-47, and on the season 30-22. So everybody's doing pretty well here. Give you free picks, and hopefully it works out for you.
I had my best week in the last week that I played, going 5-1. Oh, come on, let's go. Let's roll.
Let's roll. And that was a week you're like, oh, I'm going to play a conservative tonight.
Yeah.
Roll off. Same thing with the mock drafts. Oh, I'm not. Yeah, we know what you do, right? First up, Golden Knights at the Bruins. We got Kira Schmid versus Eunice Corpusalo. Mark Stone is on a 12-game point streak, 10 goals, 9 assists. Vegas has won 5 of their last 7 against Boston. David Pastrnak, 31 points in the last 20 games here. Looking here, if you want to grab them on the money line for Vegas, it is -155. Road favorites, Boston +130. Total now up to 6.5 at DraftKings. So for me, I took one of these picks and parlayed it with something from a game we'll discuss shortly, but the over 6 I got at -115. Vegas is 27-21 to the over. Boston 27-23. I know Corpusalo's been playing better lately. Really strong numbers, goals against, save percentage, and a 3-1 run. These teams rank 6th and 9th in goals scored per game. They're both average in terms of what they allow. Before the loss to Philly, Vegas was averaging 5 goals a game during their 7-game winning streak. And like we said, it's up to 6.5 in some spots here, but I'll take the push insurance and get them at -115 as part of a parlay that I'll complete in a minute.
Yeah, right there. 6. I would be fine with 6.5, but if you want to play it a little bit safe, the 6 is perfectly okay. Like you said, these are 2 high scoring teams. They're both very good on the power play as well. So the Boston Bruins have they're creeping up on 700 penalty minutes. So the big bad Bruins can't be disciplined. And if you're going to give Vegas that many chances against Jonas Corpusalo, they'll probably find the back of the net. So the 6 seems pretty good. Lots of offense. No real massive injuries on either side slowing down these teams. So I would also take the over, yes.
Let's make it 3.
Hey.
Great.
Let's take the over. Let's go.
God.
It's going to be a 2-1 final now because we're all on the same thing.
That's true.
All right. So everybody's on the over there. We got 1 game in the books, 8 to go. Next up, Sabres at Canadiens. Buffalo, as we've mentioned a couple of times, 16-3-1 in their last 20. Nick Suzuki's got 4 goals and 11 assists in his last 6 games versus Buffalo. This is also the second of 3 meetings in a 16-day span for Sabres Canadians. So probably be some penalties by the time they meet again at the end of the month. But goalies are going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen versus Samuel Montembeault. Looking on the money line here tonight, Montreal slight home favorites, -120, Buffalo +100 on the road. Total 6.5. Opposite rule for me would be under, since they played a week ago and it went over. This is one of the top over teams in the league in Montreal versus a Buffalo team that had been an under team prior to their last 9 games, where they've cleared this total in 8 of the last 9. With both teams being so close in the standings, I could see this being more of a buckle down game. I'm staying away.
That's not it. This is going to be a high scoring affair. I'm hoping Tage Thompson, well, I mean, he's not. I would have liked if he got stopped at the border, not let him into Canada, because last time he decided to have some fun. Listen, Montreal, even with their, high volume of shots against Minnesota and the way that they started, yes, Minnesota's on a back-to-back, but Montreal seems to be willing to shoot the puck a little bit more, which is good. If you look at the Sabres power play isn't really that good, but Montreal's penalty kill is kind of iffy. Samuel Montembeault has been better. It's still not where it needs to be. So I think these teams are going to trade chances. I think because they're seeing each other so often, right? You end up hating the guys across from you. And look, Cole Caulfield and Lane Hudson are on a mission to, they served it up to Bill Guerin in person. They got to show him what he was missing, and they're just going to continue that tear here. I don't see a ton of defense being played tonight. I see a lot of wide openness.
All right, so we got an over 6.5 from Chris. I'm staying away because I can make arguments both way. Ant, do we have a play on this one?
The goals will flow. Over
man.
6.5. Come on.
All
These
right.
two teams are scoring goals at will right now. So I love to see a high scoring affair between the two of them, and I think that's what we're going to get.
If Tony Rivers says it, it must be true.
That's maybe he might be swaying me there. I don't know. All right, so 2 games in the books there. Next up, Blackhawks at Hurricanes. Another 7:00 Eastern puck drop of the 8 tonight. It's going to be Spencer Knight. I did not see the Hurricanes goalie confirmed when I last checked. Let's see if that's been updated. Freddie Anderson confirmed. There we go. So Spencer Knight, 1.98 goals against and a .935 save percentage in his last 5 games, where he's gone 3-2-0. Hurricanes are on a 3-game winning streak, scored 15, outscoring opponents 15-3 in that span, and have won their last 5 games at home, averaging 5 goals per game in that span. Believe it or not, this is why, because I parlayed this with the over in the Vegas Boston game, just because I wasn't if I'm not too confident, I'll put them together. Now I got +273. Give me the Blackhawks +1.5 -105. Chicago 14-8 against the spread on the road. Carolina 10-17 against the spread at home. Worth a shot with Knight and net tonight, coming off a 32 save shutout over Winnipeg, and with Freddie Anderson, and that makes me like that play even more.
I don't know why they keep giving Freddie Anderson opportunities to just be miserable.
Listen, I know you got to rest, Bussy from time to time, but Freddie Anderson just no.
And but now I can't. All right, so you couldn't take the money line to start with. I was thinking maybe the puck line, even though for all the reasons you stated, I was like, Bussy, if he doesn't let in much, it'll be okay. Chicago is not good on the road. They don't generate chances. Carolina is top 5 in shots at home, on the road. It doesn't really matter. The goals have been flowing for them. I'm just going to stay away from this because Freddie Anderson is, he's alive and well enough to 10 goal, and that's unfortunate.
Oh, well, by his standards.
He is playing hockey. That's all, it's all you can really hope for from Freddie Anderson. He's not doing a good job, but he's playing hockey.
I'm not a fan of this matchup with Anderson and net. If it was Spencer Knight and Bussy, I would take the under.
Yes.
But I don't know. This could go either way, and maybe we could get what Freddie Anderson was. Most likely, we won't. So I'm gonna stay away from this one.
So 2 stayaways, and I've got the Blackhawks getting a puck and a half -105 there. I parlayed that with the over in Vegas, Boston over 6 to get it up to plus 273. Next up, with the 7 o'clock Eastern puck drops here, is the Dallas Stars are at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Stars have won 8 of their last 12 against Columbus. Mason Marchment back in the lineup tonight after missing 8 games with an upper body injury. Iko Rantanen is out with the flu. It's going to be Casey DeSmith versus Jet Greaves here. Looking to play either of these teams on the money line. Dallas slight road favorites minus 115, Columbus minus 105. Total is 6.5 here. What do we got on this one? First, I'm going to say is Mason Marchment to get a point at plus 115. Little revenge spot for Dallas. Back on that top line. I'm doing that for sure.
You're on your Mason Marchment game.
Yeah. Big secret fan. Big secret Mason Marchment fan.
Apparently, I've talked about him like 9 times.
The over you said is 6.5. I wasn't listening. I was confused by Mason Marchment existing. And
6.5.
6.5. Take the under there. Casey DeSmith has been better than Jake Ottinger statistically. Jet Greaves is not Elvis Merzlikins. That's all you need to know about it. The loss of Rantanen, like, I get it, but it still leaves a hole in their lineup. Like, Mikko Rantanen is not just someone you just spit on and say, oh, okay, it doesn't matter. The only thing, though, I need Columbus to be very disciplined, which they have been this year. They have less than 400 penalty minutes on the year because their penalty kill is not great. And Dallas, I believe, have the second best power play in the league. So I need Columbus to be good defensively, and I need them to stay out of the penalty box. If they do that, then I think this is a tighter game than most people. 6.5 is still pretty elevated with no Rantanen, with Jet Greaves and Smith. I'll take the under here.
This is just another matchup that I'm not a fan of. So I will stay and be conservative again.
Hey, listen, I know the Stars are one of the best road teams in the league, but they are 3-6-4 over their last 13. Columbus had a 4-game winning streak snapped by Ottawa in their last game. Columbus beat them with Merzlikins in net early in the season, 5-1. Put a little pizza money on the Columbus Blue Jackets minus 105 on the money line. With Jet Greaves being in net tonight, I think they get a little boost out of the aforementioned Mason Marchment being back in the lineup here. I'm going to take a stab with the Blue Jackets money line along with Marchment to get a point at plus 115. I mean, I hate to say it, fellas. We're already halfway through the slate. It is a light Thursday. It's only going to get lighter. We only have a couple of weeks till the Olympic break, which is another thing in itself. Senators at the Predators. This one's going to be James Reimer. Yes, that James Reimer against UC Saros. Senators are on a 5-game point streak, 3-0-2. For Roman Josi, this will be his 1,000th game played tonight. Ryan O'Reilly's got a 5-game point streak, 5 goals and 5 assists during that run. Philip Forsberg, 3-game point streak, 3 goals, 7 assists during that run, during that as well. So if you're looking to make a play on the money line here, the Ottawa Senators are slight road favorites at minus 118. Nashville minus 102. Underdogs at home. Total is 6.5. Ottawa's wrapping up a 3-game road trip, and they had lost 7-9 prior to their current point streak. So not really a trustworthy team, unless you like to bet overs because they're good at that. Nashville has lost big in their last 2 games, but that was against 2 of the hottest teams in the league, and they had won 3 straight and 4 or 5 prior to that. Fading the Senators goalies here. Give me the Preds to get back on track here on the money line play minus 110, and I lean over 6.5 at even money here. Even though Saros has been playing mostly well, it's James Reimer in it.
Yeah, listen, James Reimer is not good. I mean, every once in a while, he decides he wants to be elite, which is unfortunate. But he's basically come in and he's played every game. That's it. So I don't know why they're rolling out James Reimer at 38 years old. It's because they have nothing. And Ottawa's metrics offensively are good. Like, they generate offense. They can go out there, shoot the puck. They're good defensively because they kind of have that Oilers style to them, right? They're good defensively because they're in the offensive zone so much. I will take the over. That is for sure. I think Ottawa can will a couple of goals in here. I'd like them to score 3. I don't know if they get that far, but again, like you said, the Predators have been involved in some high-scoring games. Sometimes good. They handed Colorado a loss on their home ice in front of the fans like that. I didn't think it was Nashville that was going to do it. And then they got steamrolled by Vegas. So I don't know which team's going to show up tonight, but in both those games, we saw 10 and 9 goals. So over it is.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding here. Look, Reimer stinks, right? He's going to give up a lot of goals, but I think Ottawa can score some goals here, and I think they can score 3 tonight against Saros. The Predators just have been up and down, and them giving up more than 3 goals, I think that's going to be a lock as well. So I'm going to take the over 6.5.
All right, I was leaning that way anyway. May as well make it all three on the
There
over.
you
and
go.
under.
There you go.
All right.
Peer pressured into it. Love it.
They're pressured into it, but I like the Predators on the money line too. I think they get that. Saros had what? He's been 3-1, 2, 3, 4 goals against, 9.28 save percentage in his last 4 outings. So
Yeah.
I still think we could get an over because the Ottawa is one of the top over teams in the league. Like you said, good offensive metrics. Maybe we'll call that the Mike Fisher Bowl, I guess. Ottawa and Nashville. Next up, Panthers at the Jets. Winnipeg's 5-1-1 since the 11-game winless skid that they were on. It's going to be Daniil Tarasov versus Connor Hellebuck. Looking on the money line, they're both -110. Totals 5.5 here. I lean under in Jets money line, but this is ultimately a stay away spot for me.
5.5 is
plus 110.
I would have taken honestly, I was thinking about maybe the over, but Tarasov has not been like terrible. He's been just decent. I will take the Winnipeg Jets though on the money line there. Florida's not elite on the road. The Jets play better at home, and the Jets have Connor Hellebuck, who is pretty good at his job. It's unfortunate the rest of the team doesn't help him out there. But listen, there's no Brad Marchand, right? Seth Jones is not there. Matthew Tkachuk is back, but I mean, he hasn't played hockey in what feels like forever. So there's probably still some rust there. The cardio is not where it needs to be. Yes, having him back is good, but it's not where it has to be per se. So I will take the Jets money line there. I think that's more than fair.
I mean, if you're going for goaltending edge, they have it. So
I just can't trust Tarasov or the Panthers in general.
That's a matchup that I look at and I'm like, I don't really have a vibe there. So Ant's making his decision right now.
I think because it's at 5.5 total goals, I kind of have to stay away from this one. I don't have a good feel for it. With, Hellebuck has been okay, right? He's been good, but you could get a bad game from him, right? Like it is possible here, and I don't know. This is just one game that, because it's at 5.5, I think I gotta put a pause on and just stay away.
I do see 2 books at 6.
There are 6, yeah.
I mean, under 6 plus 100 at Caesars and a -110 at BetMGM.
Yeah, Bet365 too also has at over under at 6 -110.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one tonight. We got 2 games to go here. I can't believe it's just a light night for Thursday. We are rolling along here. We got the Penguins at the Oilers. Penguins are 9-2-2 in their last 13 games. Edmonton has taken 8 of their last 9 over the Penguins. Going to be Artur Shilovs versus Tristan Jarry. Is this a Tristan Jarry revenge spot? I looked at the Edmonton to win in regulation, but ultimately I'm not going to really. I don't like a side either in this one. But over 6.5, I could be talked into that.
I don't know why they didn't. Why did Stuart Skinner start yesterday against Calgary? Why was that the spot they wanted him to be in? They robbed us of another Jerry Skinner revenge game for each other, and we saw how lit up that game was the first time. I can't swallow Edmonton at -175 with no Leon Draisaitl. I can't get behind that. I will take the over though, that's for sure. Listen, the Penguins got to shoot on Tristan Jarry a lot. They know all his weaknesses. It's just one of those things. Yes, Jarry has played well, but having to play his former team might be problematic, and we saw that, right? I think his one loss is to his former team, so there's that. Shelov's just not very good. There's more than enough skill on both sides. Connor McDavid is still the best player on the planet. Sidney Crosby continues to do everything he does. We get a matchup of those two, goats. Zach Hyman has started to shoot the puck a little bit more. That's always good. Edmonton's power play is fantastic. Chris Letang is day to day. He didn't play yesterday already with no Carlson. If Letang's out as well, the Pittsburgh blue line gets real thin real quick.
Looks like we lost Chris again for a minute. So clearly he's taking the over here, and I'm being talked into it. So
where am I?
It's up to you. There we go.
I don't know what's happening. I'm taking the over. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, your internet's been a little laggy today, but that's fine. It's well, and what do we got? Are we making it a clean sweep here?
Yeah, the last time these two teams played, it was a 6-4 score. And there's going to be goals going to be scored tonight. So I will take the over.
This probably the game of the night out of all this, all the games on the slate. It's either this one or the next one. That's the game of the night. And then last one for this Thursday night, a 9:30 Eastern puck drop. We got the Detroit Red Wings at the Minnesota Wild. Detroit beats Toronto in overtime 2-1 last night. Looking at the goaltending matchup for this one tonight, it's going to be Cam Talbot versus Philip Gustafson. Looking here at some of the numbers, Detroit has taken 7 of their last 8. Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond, and James Van Riemsdyk each have 10 points during that run. Patrick Kane is 2 points shy of tying Mike Modano most in U.S. player-born history. For me, I'm going to take and I know it's been a little bit of a bumpy road for the Wild lately, but as good as the Wings have been, they do tend to go as John Gibson goes. You got Cam Talbot tonight. The Wings are 3-4-2 in back-to-backs. Wild are one of the last teams I'd want to see if I was on a second night here. Minnesota is the 7th stingiest team in the league, even with their injuries. Like we said, if Eriksson Ek is going to potentially come back and Marcus Johansson's going to potentially come back, I'll take a chance on them to win in regulation at even money, facing a team that had to go into OT last night.
Right there with you, bud. Right there with you. There we go. We finally found one that makes sense. Listen, Cam Talbot is no John Gibson, so that basically sums it up. Detroit is, though, a very good team. So I feel like if I don't think it's going to overtime. I say that knowing that Detroit's been to overtime in their last two wins, but I like Minnesota a little bit better at home here. Kirill Kaprizov's still good. Quinn Hughes still absolutely electric. If there was any rumor true that, Steve Yzerman didn't want to pay up because there was no extension for Quinn Hughes, like maybe Quinn's like, hey, let me show you why you give up 3 technically first-round picks for me. So I will also take them in regulation.
Go. Right. Both back in the Wild. And final play of the night.
Yeah, let's go. I'm going to take an under on this one. I'm going to take the under 6.5. I think we're going to get a solid matchup from these two. You said match of the night. I think that's what we're going to get.
6.5 minus 120 right now over a Fanatic Sportsbook. That's going to be your best number. 6.5. All right. So we've got, it was a limited slate, but I think we gave you a fair amount of things to consider here.
Yeah.
Been nice. So good that we ran that pretty well. Good job, everyone.
Nice little tidy 8-game work there. Yeah.
And it's a spread out. The slate's spread out. I mean, no 10 or 10:30s. I mean, the 10:30 puck drop Eastern has become very rare as of late. I do enjoy those out on the West Coast. But nonetheless, there we go. There's our Thursday pucking preview for this edition of Total Hockey Now. Craig reached out via email just to check in, playing each other this week. He said it was ballsy. He said brave, but it was ballsy of me to start Dostal versus the Avalanche last night. Got to be honest, that was probably, I forgot to check the lineup right before puck drop, and he was in the goalie slot, so I lucked into that one. So I wouldn't give me too much. That wasn't like, I've got a sharp play here. I know I didn't think Dostal was going to have a good night. If I had remembered, I probably would have played him. Sometimes the best moves you make are the ones you forget to do. So there we go. So Silver Fox, always good to hear from him. And hey, you can reach out to the show on Twitter or anywhere else, or you can just shoot us an email, totalhockeynow@gmail.com. So there we go. Fellas, I know Chris has been trashing Bill Guerin over at the Slapshot podcast for leaving out 2 of the better Montreal Canadiens off the Team USA roster there. So I know that was on the most recent one with Lane Hudson.
We did talk about that. We also found the last episode, we found 5 new places for your boy, Artemi Panarin. Let him pack his suitcase. Some spots, not really. Next episode, I have no idea. I'm hoping maybe the Rangers send out another letter tomorrow so I can use whatever they put out there and I can just
The letter
recycle.
2.1.
Yeah, letter, 3 point whatever. Something will come in the shower. Somebody will do something they shouldn't. So, or I could go back to the idea that I had before, the Rangers decided to pen a letter to their faithful. So you're going to have to watch. That's just basically it.
I think Panarin's going to Detroit. I've been saying that for pretty much since it's become obvious that the Rangers have to move him. I think he gets reunited with Kane. They try and make a push in the Atlantic. And of course, we talked about this earlier in the show, but overall, I mean, there's nothing to not be happy about right now as a Met fan, right? Like, I know David Stearns was taking some crap, letting Pete Alonso walk, and people were ready to tar and feather him. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like everybody wants to buy him a beer again.
Yeah, it's a long off season. That's why it's good to wait until spring training to see what the roster is. And even now, with the way free agency works, with guys not signing until halfway through spring training, it's good to wait until the beginning of the season to see an opening day to see where the rosters are at. And the Mets have done what they needed to do. They added an impact starter, possible ace, and Freddie Peralta. They got Bo Bichette. They just traded for Luis Robert Jr. So the team is coming along. Pretty sure they can make a few tweaks here and there, help out the bench and the bullpen. So we'll see how it goes from there. But I got all of your coverage. I was live last night while the trade was going down. So we got to break that news on air. And
nice.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I look forward to more episodes. Next show will be Sunday at 10 a.m.
Very
we
nice.
are here for the Mets bandwagon, by the way. It all feels good. It's going well. You guys share the same bandwagon circle as the Leafs do. You guys are feeling good. This is going to be great. We're going to pin this moment and then moves in 6 months in August, come back and see what type of shape Ant's in.
We always love what the team looks like on paper before the season begins.
Everybody's got a chance at the championship before the first game.
Oh, yeah. Raise that band.
At Creeping Death, great name, by the way. I'm assuming that's a Metallica reference to track 7 off of Ride the Lightning. He seconds my Detroit pick for where Artemi Panarin lands. And we also forgot to mention, you can find Chris's picks other days of the week outside of here at fantasyalarm.com/NHL, along with the great Josh Wagner. Love him. And then Rip and Riff with myself and at Mr. Jared Moore comes at you on Mondays, talking football, talking hockey. Well, I guess we'll be previewing the Super Bowl this Monday after we have the conference championship games this weekend. Fellas, it's been a good one today. Any closing thoughts here? Don't all jump in.
Listen.
There it is.
That is the perfect way to wrap this show up. Is that exact thing right there? Chris getting ready to talk and his internet pulling the carpet out from him right when he's about to make his alley.
Where are you, Gary? Where's Gary?
Gary's pulling the plug on me today. I don't know why.
Somewhere in an office on 47th and 6th in New York at the NHL League offices, they are messing with Chris's internet up there in Montreal. But for at N Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91, if I put it the right way, I am at Pucking Thoughts. Adam Bernard. Be back with you with an all new episode of Total Hockey Now, the last one for January, next Thursday, January 29th at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Thanks to all those who watch live or are watching later for picks right before the games. And get to reach out, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you next week.